Today we're talking about student accommodation mistakes you should avoid. Let's go. So many of us as students, when we are coming to study abroad, we are going to be needing accommodation and we are going to be moving into accommodations. So I'm going to be sharing with you mistakes that you should avoid in choosing your student accommodation or while even moving in. One mistake you should avoid is ignoring the fine print in contracts. Yes, when they give you an accommodation, you are usually presented with a contract, and these contracts are so bulky and lengthy. I know, because of course legal terminologies and all of that, and they can be very long, and you can be tempted to say, oh, let me not read it, I'm just gonna sign it, and or no, you shouldn't. You should read it. If you can't employ a legal expert to read it, then you should do the reading. Read the document and see what your obligations are, and see what the obligation of your landlord are. Who's supposed to do repairs, what's your notice period, things like that. Some hidden things that you should know about the accommodation, they are all embedded in the contract, and if you don't read the contract, you are not going to know. In fact, some accommodation demands that when you're living, you should employ a cleaner to clean the property. So if you clean by yourself, they are not going to accept. They want you to hire a cleaner, a professional cleaner, to clean the property when you're living. So these are the things that you can go through and call their attention to change it. If you are not okay with that, discuss it with them, let them change it and alter it before you sign the contract. And if you see that they are not interested in changing it, and you see it's something you cannot meet, then you will not take the accommodation. I recently heard a story of someone who said she had a garden, and in the contract it was stipulated that she's the one that's supposed to clean the garden. But because she didn't read her contract, she didn't know she was supposed to clean the garden, and she said she can't clean the garden, she can't cut grass, she can't mow the lawn. So these are some of the things that are hidden in contracts that you should not ignore. So don't forget to read your contracts. Before we move on, I want to tell you about Amber. Amber is the sponsor of this video. Thank you, Amber. Amber is a student accommodation platform, and they have over 1 million accommodations across Europe, Australia, UK, Canada, in Germany, in Ireland, Portugal, Spain, and the USA. Students can search for their homes according to their preferences and filter by locality and university. Amber has like over 1 million beds, including dorms, shared rooms, en-suites, among others. Amber ensures perfect accommodation for each student. Also, Amber accommodations are conveniently located close to major universities and are in around the cities. All of Amber's listings are verified and equipped with state-of-the-art security apparatus. All prices on Amber website include utilities like electricity and water, so there is no hidden prices. The price you see there is what you get, and it's all inclusive. You don't need to pay extra for your bills and stuff. It's hassle-free. Amber has a simple student-friendly change and cancellation policy, so if you don't want the accommodation again, you can easily change or you can cancel. Once you want to book your accommodation as a student, all you want to do is search, make inquiries, you finalize your booking, make your payment, and book your student accommodation with Amber. You can even book ahead before you come to that country. I'm very sure that most of us will be wondering, where do we stay if we come to this country? So you don't have to get worried about that. You can use Amber to book your student accommodation. It's very straight to the point. There's link in the description if you want to know more about Amber. And also, for every accommodation that you book, I also get a percentage, so feel free to use the link in description that is particular to me to book your student accommodation. Okay, so don't forget to read your contract. Number two thing is not taking a video when you move in. Yeah, when you move into accommodation, you should film the place the way it is when you met it and upload the video on your drive and save it somewhere. Save it somewhere because you are going to be needing it when you're moving out. If you have videos and all when you're leaving and there's any form of discrepancies, there's any form of, oh, this was not here when you came, this, you easily show them this video as proof and as evidence of how you met the property. In fact, that's number one thing I do. For every property I move into, I video the place. Like, I take a detailed video, the ceiling, the door, like everywhere, so that when I'm moving out, if there's anything coming up, I'll easily, how easily shoot the video. I recently had a situation where I moved into an accommodation, and by the time I was leaving, the property was telling me that some of the marks were not there when I came in, and I showed it to them, like, these things were here when I came in, this is how I met it, this is how I met it. And I was able to use that evidence as proof, and my deposit was not held, and I was able to avoid that whole situation because I had a video. So don't forget to record a video when you move into any accommodation. It is very, very crucial. Another thing you should avoid is overpacking. Yes. Yeah, I'm the last person that's supposed to preach this to people, but I'm preaching it because I've learned from my mistake. Like, overpacking. Student accommodation are, of course, student accommodation. They are not like your luxury big 3 bedrooms. No, they are student accommodation, meaning they are more comfortable for one person, and so you need a lot of space because you're going to be studying. You need a lot of space in your student accommodation, so you should not overpack. Like, when coming from your home country, don't bring things you don't need. Don't overpack your space, because you find out that you have like plenty loads everywhere in the 4 corners of your room, and you don't have enough leg room and leg space to work. So what I did when I came to the UK was I was minding what I was buying. And most times, student accommodation, you have to move at the end of the semester, except you want to renew, but you have to move. So moving with all these things, like, it can be a lot. And moving things up and down is not easy. So you do not want to overpack or bring many stuffs that you don't need. No, bring only the things that you need. And as well, you don't want to underpack as well. Yeah, don't overpack and don't underpack. Bring essentials that you need, things that you think are valuable to you and that you're going to use them. Another mistake you should avoid is lack of communications with landlord. Communicate with your landlord or your agency. Whatever you don't understand in your accommodation, communicate it to them. Whatever you feel you need clearance, communicate it to them. In fact, even if it's about your flatmates, it's about the rules, the don'ts, communicate it to them. If you want somebody to come and visit you and you don't understand how it works, communicate it to them. Communicating with your landlord is very, very essential, so that things can be set straight. Your landlord, your agency, so that there will be no discrepancies or there will be no any situation. Try and maintain constant communication with these people, and trust me, you will have a very, very good experience. Don't be intimidated. Don't feel shy. Talk to them, email them, use the points of contact they gave you, and make sure that you talk to them in any area that you feel confused about, and that way there will not be issues later on. And the last mistake to avoid is keeping records. Yes, oh my god, this is very essential. You get, I am somebody that is very patient. Like, I am very considerate and I'm very patient. So I had situations in my accommodation sometime where I needed to communicate with the landlord or the agency that so thing is destroyed in the property, or so things is happening in the property, and I kept quiet about it because I felt is something that could be manageable, like it's something that I could handle. And later on, like, it was the agency was like, maybe I was the one that did it. Do you get? It's like, oh, maybe you're the one that did this thing. Meanwhile, it is not so. So keep records if anything spoiled in your accommodation. If there is a rat situation in your accommodation, because I had a rat situation and I didn't care about it and it came up later. If there's a rat situation in your apartment, there is an accommodation, there's a Wi-Fi issue, there's a hot water issue, there's a cold water issue, if there's any issue at all, noise issue, ceiling issue, anything at all, tell them. And while telling them, keep records of that email. Like, complain to them. Yes, if don't be like me, oh, I don't like complaining too much, I just like to fix it. No, don't fix it. Complain. Even if you have the capacity to fix it, complain to them. Tell them what's happening in the situation. If there is maybe somebody living in the accommodation that's not supposed to live in the accommodation, tell them. Okay, let them know, so that by the time anything comes up, you'll be able to show receipts, and you say, oh, I told you at this point, I told you. Because most times we pay something called deposit. Deposit is the money that they hold while they give you the accommodation, so that if anything happens, they'll be able to hold that money. See, especially in the UK, landlord does not hesitate to hold your holding deposit. So in fact, anything you think is wrong, tell them and keep receipts, so that by the time your accommodation is up, you'll be able to show receipts if there is need. So yes, avoid these student accommodation mistakes when you come abroad to study, and I hope that you enjoy your study time and you enjoy your period of being a student. I enjoyed my time, and now I'm a worker. Yes, I'm working now, so I hope that you enjoy your period as a student, and I'll see you again in my next video. Take care. Bye bye.